Wednesday, it's time for Coffee and Conversation with Jennifer, Simplicity Coach, and I want to remind you that organizing isn't complicated, time is sacred, and money is a renewable resource. So how are you doing this Wednesday? How are you doing this week? I hope you're doing well. I have been experiencing some technical difficulties, and I'm not the most proficient when it comes to technology. And I'll admit I tend to be a little annoyed and sometimes cheap when it comes to technology. I don't like it when things break because I think they should last forever, but just because they don't doesn't mean that, or just because I think they should doesn't mean that they will. So this week's topic is an encouragement to stop digesting more and more knowledge and more tips and more how-tos. I 100% believe that it's not for a lack of knowledge when it comes to specifically getting organized. We know how to do it. So then what's the problem? Sometimes the problem is time. We think it will take half a day on a Saturday. We think it might take a weekend. In reality, it might take 6 months. True statement. Lack of motivation. Motivation tends to be pretty high in the beginning and starts to drop off rapidly when it comes to letting things go and simplifying. It's like losing weight. You are pumped to get that weight off at the beginning. And let's say it's January and you're like, I am losing some lbs this year. You're going to the gym, you're working out. By March, April, you've gotten busy. Things have just returned back to normal. You're probably not going to the gym at the same rate that you were. You might have let your eating habits slip a little because of holidays and birthdays and whatever else. So you tend to lose motivation when it comes to losing weight, and it's easy to lose motivation when it comes to organizing. So if it's not a lack of time, if it's not for lack of knowledge, it does tend to have something to do with lack of time. It also tends to do with lack of motivation, and I really want to encourage you to stop consuming and stop learning on how to organize. There are certainly tips and tricks out there that make living an organized life much more easy and straightforward. There's a lot of tips and tricks out there too that can make it complicated. Knowing too many options can lead to just spinning out and not making any decisions. So when we know more and more, we tend to have analysis paralysis and we just can't get moving. It's like we're stuck in neutral, we're not going forward, and we're not necessarily going backwards, but we don't know how to get it back in gear. And the way to get in gear is to start doing something, act, make some decisions, and maybe start somewhere small. Start somewhere easy. Maybe it's the laundry room or the kitchen or a guest room or clothes from the season that has just ended. This is September, middle of September. The weather is starting to change here in North Carolina. Praise the Lord. It is so much easier to let go of summer clothes when you're coming out of summer. So it's easy to look at those clothes and say, I didn't wear this. When I wore this, I didn't like it. This was kind of snug. This had a hole in it. It's kind of ratty looking. So it's so much easier to let things go when you're coming out of a season. So that's a little tip. But we think that we need to know more or we need help. And sometimes you do need help. But the help doesn't look like the help of someone there all the time, or it's not, the value isn't in someone being there to hold your hand 24/7 with the decisions. That's sort of enabling you to keep thinking about your stuff in a very specific way. So Having the coach is very helpful, but it's not the coach's hands and mind and thoughts that you need. It's their coaching. The coaching is what you need. You need the different viewpoint. You need to think about things differently. You need a different perspective, and you need some pushing kind of off the edge because you stopped yourself being on the edge, and it's time for you to go off the edge when it comes to letting things go, because you can't fix a problem from the same mindset used to create it. And that's what a coach does. So there tends to be this expectation that when you're hiring a simplicity coach, that the coach is going to be there for 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, 2 to 3 weeks, and that's it. And like the stuff's going to be gone, and you're going to have all this space. That's not how it goes. It's like a turtle. I'm like a turtle. Other coaches are like a turtle. We want to go slow because that's what wins the race. The hare usually runs out of gas and doesn't win the race. He might finish, but he doesn't win. It's the same with losing weight. The answer is the transformation happens over a long period of time. By long period, I really mean about 8 months. It takes about 8 months to make significant changes in your home space when it comes to time, when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to stuff, sometimes when it comes to shopping and money. You might be able to make the decisions quickly, but in order for them to stick or land or become a new habit, they take time. And I believe that is the part where we don't want to hear that. So we think that I need to know more, or I need more help, more hands-on help. I've worked with so many families, specifically moms, who have hired an organizer to come in thinking that was what she needed. She needed someone to come in and just tidy up the house and get it organized. And I hear the same thing. All they did was contain and label my things. Now, there's always two sides to every story, so I highly doubt that they didn't get rid of things in the process, but stuff in containers is still the same stuff. It's just organized in a different way. That's not the point usually when someone is calling me. They're saying, I am overwhelmed. I have got to get rid of things, and I'm not sure why I'm not doing it myself. Most of the time, I hear the guilt of, I feel that I should be able to do this, or two, I've been trying this, and I'm not doing too good of a job. So know that if you do decide to hire a coach, that it's a long-term commitment for the gain of you, for the transformation to happen. And I see this a lot with potential clients where they're maybe a little disappointed or surprised when I talk about the commitment of time in which we'll work together. Or maybe they're just thinking, I don't know that I want that much Jennifer in my life. Maybe. I doubt it. They're thinking 2 weeks and I'm going to have this house in ship shape. You can't expect to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. You just cannot expect to get your home simplified and organized in 2 weeks, in 1 month, in 2 months even. It is truly about an 8-month process. So I want to encourage you to stop learning. You don't need more tips. You don't need more tricks, especially if you're in the beginning stages of getting organized. It's like watching a bunch of workout videos on how to really tone your bicep. If you can't even see your bicep, you don't need to watch those videos yet. Like, get to the point where you can see the bicep, and then you're ready for the small tweaks and the small tones. So it's the same with organizing. Do the broader purge. Really start to look at the stuff and what you believe about the things, and then once you've gone through multiple rounds of letting things go and really identifying boundaries and shopping and habits and all those things that lead to the stuff, then you can look to the tips and tricks. Okay, now I have all the things that I want and need. I have the space for it. Now how can I use the space more efficiently? And that tends to be pretty fast and pretty fun and a lot. I like that part, but it's not where you go first. So I hope you're having a great week. It's my little tips and tidbits for this week. Stop learning, start doing, start letting things go. If you want to work with a coach, I'm available. I'm available through the end of this year. In 2021, I will more than likely not be taking private client work. So you have until the end of December. well, not till the end of December. So I highly recommend calling soon. I may not be taking clients after November. I have something fun coming though for next year, so just keep your eye out for that. More to come. Have a good week. Catch me next week on this page, 3 p.m. for Coffee and Conversation with Jennifer. And if there's anything that you want me to talk about, just pop it below in the comments, okay? Have a good one. Bye!